The opinions expressed on the ACB Media Network are those of the content providers and should not be viewed as an endorsement of any product or service. Nor does it reflect the views of the American Council of the Blind, its elected officials, or its staff.
Hello everybody and welcome to Herbie's Cooking Corner for January 3rd, 2023. Wow, that feels so strange to say that, but indeed...
You got it right and everything.
A brand new year. I know, what a great way to start off the new year, right? Knowing the date at least.
Yeah, wow. You feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling fine. Well, I think... Yep. I think that, there's a lot to worry about and, it's
yes,
worrisome
I know you're
when I
getting
know
old
the
and
date.
all that. Yes, I get it.
Yep.
Anyway,
But,
should we do some cooking?
I think we should do some cooking, as today we are going to be cooking fudge. And, folks, I went through a lot of recipes. There was actually ones that Sheila gave me, and there's a ton that I have. And what decided me in the end was somebody asked the question about how to know when something is boiling on the stove. And so I decided to go with a stovetop recipe for that reason, rather than dealing with one of the microwave fudges. And so that's what we are going to do. Now, could I possibly come back on a future call and do a microwave fudge? Absolutely. And we learned today on the ACB Community Connect that a lot of people want us to make bread, so I've wanted to make bread too for a long time. It's So
we'll be doing that.
But money's hard to get, and yep. Oh, we're talking about real bread here, not money bread. So yeah, yes. So we'll do that at the end of February. So that is something we are definitely going to tackle. And first of all, I want to say hi to everybody that is helping us out today. We've got, of course, my co-facilitator, Twinkling Tori. How was your New Year, Tori?
Exhausting. I spent the night in the community-a-thon. It was fun, though. Apparently, one of my dogs has some opinions.
Apparently.
Oh. Logan says his New Year was rough.
Oh. Well...
Well, I mean, he didn't get his bedtime treat bowl because I didn't really go to bed, so.
Oh, well, all I can say is if I think next time go bark up a different tree there, Logan, and maybe Daddy will be more sympathetic to you than Mommy. I don't know, but
I doubt it.
Poor Logan. You doubt it? Okay, well, never mind there, Logan. I can't play the parents off against each other. I guess that's how that works. So, anyway, guys, and in Zoom we have, once again, Karen, who helped us out last week, and we have over on the Clubhouse side, Dazzling Desi, who hosts Dazzling Desi's Diner every day from down
Friday.
To... Friday. Oh,
too many D's there. You got carried away with the D words.
Okay. But she does do Desi's Diner every Friday, and as one of our social calls, and she's even let me cook there a time or two, and it's turned out okay. So I want to say hi to. All right, so we'll say hi to those. All right, so hey Google, set timer for 3 minutes. As I'm finishing up breakfast here, let's get started with the good stuff, and that is the fudge. So this fudge that we're doing on the stove requires 2 components. We're going to melt chocolate chips and butter on the stove, and then we're going to mix in the other ingredients in a mixing bowl using a mixer. And so what we're going to need is 2 cups semi-sweet chocolate chips, a stick of unsalted butter, 2 extra large eggs that are at room temperature, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a pound of browned sugar. and if you want a half cup of roasted walnuts or pecans or whatever. So I had my chocolate chips in the fridge for safekeeping. And one bag I've discovered really does turn out to be about 2 cups. So we're just going to pour that bag into the saucepan. And if it's slightly over 2 cups, well, I ain't complaining. I don't know about you guys, but and Tori, I
I
know
was
you're not a
working
big
on the same kind of principle with mine. If it's a little over, so it's a bit more chocolatey. Who cares?
No, I didn't think you cared for chocolate much.
I don't like chocolate cake.
Okay.
Chocolate is
Very good.
fine. I just don't do chocolate cake. And I still haven't told you why. But I'm not telling you on the
No.
call.
Okay. All right. Well, we will get into the merits of chocolate cake another time then. So, anyway, let's talk about the bag of chocolate chips. How do I know it's chocolate chips? Well, it really helps that, for one, I don't have any other kind of chips in the house, so I don't have to get them confused with butterscotch or anything like that. And, well, they feel like chocolate chips. The bag is completely sealed on both ends, and it just can be incredibly difficult to open. So when that happens, we get out a knife or scissors. In my case, I'm going to get out the scissors and just cut a little hole into the top of the bag, and we're going to pour out they come. And I'm just using a saucepan for this. You could use a pot if you want. And the first thing I'm going to do is feel around because a couple of chocolate chips got on the stove. We do not want that for a number of reasons. One, it's a good waste of chocolate. Two, we do need to sample the chocolate chips to make sure they are Hey Google, stop. Indeed, chocolate chips.
You need to make sure they're safe to eat, right?
Exactly.
Very important.
Very, very, very important. And the nice thing about this melting recipe is we get to do it on low heat. We're not going to bring it to a full boil. There were some fudge recipes I saw that did require that. I didn't really want to go through all that work. So, next we are going to find the butter. And yeah, I thought I had a stick here. And it calls for just 1 stick of unsalted butter. Actually, I don't remember if it's specified or not, but we're going to use unsalted butter. And otherwise, I'd have to measure it out. And I'm going to get the stick out of the wrapper and just kind of break the stick into kind of halves a little bit, just because that'll help it cook a little bit faster. But that's all we're going to do there. And Janine, I know, likes to save these butter wrappings because of the parchment paper. I don't, but I do have parchment paper, which we're not going to use today. But
well, we are when you put it on the tray, because I strongly advise that, or when it sets, you will have a hard time taking it off whatever you put it in to set.
All right, because it did call for a buttered dish, but
yeah, I
think
know
right,
it does, but trust me, you want to go with the parchment paper.
All right, we will go with the parchment paper then. So I'm going to turn the heat on. So the question is, of course, how can you tell if the stove is ready to use? Well, first of all, it really helps to have your ingredients in the pan first before you get the stove to boiling. That is one of the first things you want to do. Second of all, know if your stove is electric or gas. This matters because it's going to affect the time of the amount of time that is it's going to take to cook. And gas is going to heat up a lot quicker. You can usually tell it's gas because it's going to have like the square burners that really, really stick out. So that is a way of knowing that it is a gas
also tell
stove.
by how you have to light it.
Yeah, I guess that would help too. I mean, the gas stoves I've seen still require a dial, but there are some that you have to light manually. They will also make extra clicking sounds, though.
Mine has a dial, but you have to ignite the gas somehow. So you have to push the dial in slightly to ignite the gas.
Okay. We should have there could be an interesting discussion on the variety of gas stoves. So it's been a while since I don't think ours required that, but
there's usually something, whether it be a button you have to press or like you push the dial in or something. There's always something with a gas stove where you have to ignite the gas.
Okay, the one I remember, I think you had to use a manual lighter to relight the fuse.
Well, that's an option as well, but there's always either you have to light it with something, or there will be something you have to press, whether it be the dial or a separate button to ignite it. But that's my point, though. You have to ignite the gas somehow on a gas one.
Mm-hmm.
And I really apologize for the dogs, but I do not know what their problem is, and muting to tell them to shut up has so far worked absolutely none of the time.
Well, that is just how it goes, I guess. So we're dealing with low heat, so that makes it a lot easier to work with the stove, but when you're dealing with high heat, your stove is going to make a hissing sound, of course, and so is the... Let's see how this... You're going to both feel your pan vibrating with the handle, and it's going to make a hissing sound once it is ready to... once it starts boiling. And that's basically how you know that something is at what we call a rolling boil. And I talked about this on several other recipes too, including my steak and mashed potatoes recipe, which I just did get uploaded this last week, and to my YouTube channel. So that's how you can know something is at a rolling boil. And you know, if it's electric, it's going to take a little bit longer to get to that state, and if your heat's on a lower temperature, it's going to take even longer. And if you have solids in there, you're definitely going to feel them melting. If you have water boiling, you're going to feel it steaming. And so just some things that you can really easily tell if your stove is at a what we would call a rolling boil or not. What else? What else? Is there anything else you can think of on that subject, Tori?
At the moment, I'm with trying to figure out how to find out where you put your wooden spoon. Sorry. No, I think that essentially covers how to tell if something is boiling.
Alright, in your case, since you have dogs, you could just say, "Here, doggy, find the wooden spoon," and they'll find it. You'll want to wash it off, but...
That only works if it's on the floor, and I happen to know it's not.
Okay.
This time. It was once, but...
well,
today Oh, well, I'll just use the other one. I'll find it later.
Maybe the doggy wants some fudge.
Probably, but they're not getting any, not with it being chocolate fudge.
That's right, absolutely.
All right, and, you know, I guess, but there are options, way around tags, air tags, things like that you can put onto your thing so you always know where they're at, I guess. Not something I would do, but that's the only thing I can think of. Alright, so this is just taking its time, obviously, and if you think the stove's been on long enough and it's still not coming to a boil, but you're feeling the heat, that can be a good indicator that your pan is not centered in the stove. And so you can just kind of feel around with the burner to do that. I don't know. I mean, I don't struggle as much spatially as a lot of other people do, so I'm not really the best person to tell you how to do it, other than just kind of, you know, like, use your best judgment when it comes to... You'll kind of know by just the way the heat feels with the pan.
Kind of like how Abby got told, how do you know when the eggs are done when they're done?
Yep. So, we give such good advice here. And by the way, if you love the advice we give to you here on the cooking call, and all the other calls for that matter, even if it's just the cooking call, we highly encourage you to donate to the ACB community. And you can do this very easily. All you have to do, in fact, is just go to tinyurl.com/communityathon22. That's COMMUNITYATHON 22. And fill out that very easy form and give. You are no longer eligible, of course, for door prizes, but every little
donations
bit
are gratefully
helps.
received.
They are. And that money goes directly to the community. It funds a lot of things, such as the 5 Zoom accounts that we are currently running, where that allow us to host. It allows things like these calls to happen at a good time. It allows.
It pays Colby's wages so that she can get everything organized for the schedule and everything, so we know what's happening when.
Yep. It also pays for the fact that some calls can be webinar, which maybe some people would be happy if we didn't have that. But and your breakfast is on the table.
Do.
Yep. And just also not to mention the servers for the streaming, the podcasts. There's quite a bit that goes on behind the scenes to get this thing fully running. And not everybody... Well, so even if you rely on my YouTube channel, you still want the podcast because they get uploaded a lot quicker than sometimes than my own stuff does to YouTube. So, but
and just think, if it wasn't for the community, the cooking call wouldn't exist, so there wouldn't be those podcasts to listen to. So
exactly, no, this call would not exist without the community. It really would not. So
donate.
Yes. tinyurl.com. What?
Does anyone else think about wanting donuts whenever people do that?
Yes.
Good, it's not just me. Okay, great.
And I'm lucky because my wifey won a $10 Dunkin' Donuts gift card.
Well, okay, you might be lucky. It depends if she feels like sharing it with you.
Exactly. But we have to kind of both go there anyway. Well, I guess we don't. She could go by herself, I guess. So, all right. Can you all hear the sizzling?
Just about.
Yes.
Just about.
I can.
All right.
I think it's probably clearer in Clubhouse than in Zoom because it usually is, but we can just about hear it in Zoom.
All right. Well, because right now it is definitely at a rolling boil. Well, not a really, truly rolling boil, because we
don't
are
like to boil
at
that much.
No.
Okay, now we hear it really well. There you go. Whatever you did, that was good.
So we've kind of got like a thick mixture here. And we don't want it to burn. So now that we've done that, I actually should have had it on a lot lower heat than what I did. I ended up having it on medium. We're going to let this set aside on a cool burner and get on with the other stuff. So what we need now is our mixing bowl. But first, I tell you what, before I even get into this stuff, do we have any questions so far? And we will start things over in Zoom.
I don't see any hands yet.
All right. And how about over on Clubhouse?
No one has their hand raised yet.
Which hopefully just means we're doing stuff well enough.
Yep, that's what it means. Oh, phew.
Hope it does.
Oh, okay. I'm told to believe that it means that, and not that you guys are Anyway. So the first thing I've got are 2 large eggs. I'm assuming these are large. I don't know. They may be extra large. I don't know. They're eggs at room temperature. And I set these out in the bowl ahead of time so they would have time to sit and get to room temperature. I honestly don't even know truly if the room temperature thing matters or not, but it is nevertheless set to that. And we're going to crack these into a bowl. And I had my eggs sitting in a smaller bowl, by the way, so they wouldn't just be able to roll on the counter and accidentally break or anything. So that is egg number 1. No. And next is going to be egg number 2. I'm just kind of cracking the egg along the side here, so that way there's hopefully less potential for shell. But this different eggs are going to crack differently, so you've just got to be extremely careful and make sure you wash afterwards. Because you will most likely get raw egg on your hands, and
better than egg on your face.
Exactly. Next up, this thing calls for a pound of brown sugar. And, I forgot to find out something important. Hey, Google, how many cups is a pound?
2 cups. On the website bakinglikeachef.com, they say 1 pound equals 2 cups.
Alright, hey, Google, raise the volume. Okay, so we're going to need 2 cups of powdered sugar. And I tried looking. The 1 pound, I could have gotten like 1 pound bags of this stuff, but it was more expensive than just buying the 2 pound bag. So, and I do not have an easy way of just dividing the bag into half. So we're going to measure this out into a 2 cup measuring cup. If you do not have a 2 cup measuring cup, then just the 2 1 cups will suffice. Powdered sugar, you can definitely tell it's powdered sugar. It feels very soft. And it comes in the packaging, like the plastic packaging, similar to how I described the brown sugar. And so texturally wise, though, it's different. And so I can tell it from the brown sugar, which feels a little bit more coarser. So through the packaging. And again, this requires scissors. So I just washed off the scissors that I used earlier for the chocolate chips. I don't know why I washed it off, because it really didn't have anything bad on it, but okay.
Because it's always better to wash stuff than not.
Exactly. And, well, if that's the case, alright, so what is your opinion about washing paper plates?
Don't use them in the first place.
Oh, well, that makes that easy. Okay. Ask a snarky question.
But if you insist on using them, wash them carefully and then leave them to dry, and then you can recycle them.
All right. So I poured the powdered sugar into the 2 cup, and then I'm going to pour this over the mixing bowl. And now we're going to put this cup in the sink, and the first thing we're going to do is store the remainder of our powdered sugar. And with all this talk of donuts and donating, I think I'm going to make donuts later on, because that's a good use for the powdered sugar. And
also donuts are tasty.
Exactly. So, and I realized part of what may have gone wrong with my donuts the last time when I made them on the cooking call is the New Wave. It's so for those that don't know, the New Wave is an induction burner, and it's good, but it does cook things differently than doing them on a regular stovetop. And I think I don't know how to describe it, but I think
making a difference.
I think it was making a difference in how the donuts turned out. So that's something I need to experiment with and verify the results. And, alright. So, last thing we need for this is the vanilla. And I've just recently been talking about the vanilla and the type of bottle that it comes in. And I used it all up though, so I had to get a new thing of it. This particular bottle comes in a box. The thing I don't like about the vanilla is it looks very suspiciously, a lot like the liquid Tylenol bottles. So that's the only downside to vanilla, except those bottles do look a little bit differently, but so rule is don't keep your medicine in your kitchen.
I'll give you that. It does, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it really does. It actually confused me one time when I was like, wait a minute, am I using the right stuff? Because I had the Tylenol in the kitchen for some reason, and then...
Yeah,
so.
You do not want to mix those up.
No! I mean, maybe they put vanilla in Tylenol. I don't know. But,
maybe,
why
but
they
I
have
don't
to have
think
the...
Tylenol in your cookies or fudge or anything would be all that great, though.
I don't think so either. I mean, I like cherry flavor, but there's a limit.
Ew.
Okay, so this calls for a teaspoon of vanilla, but regardless, the Tylenol and vanilla bottles do look very similar to each other, so just be sure you make note of that if you deal with the liquid stuff for any reason for the Tylenol. And we're just going to get out a teaspoon here. Come on, teaspoon. I think you're around. I see my tablespoon. There's my teaspoon, and actually, okay, it's not quite my teaspoon, but it'll do. And I can tell which spoon it is just by the size. And okay, there we go. So I'm going to pour the vanilla into the teaspoon. Extra is going to just go right into the bowl because it's not going to hurt anything.
And we don't mind extra vanilla anyway.
No, we do not. So, in fact, a little bit extra will probably give it a little bit more flavor. So, there, that is in there. And now what we're going to do is assemble our mixer and mix it all together, and then add in the fudge mixture and let it set. So now is a good time because I'm going to run the mixer in a couple minutes, but I gotta go get it ready. So if you have any questions, now is an opportune time. If you have any questions, comments, just on what we've done so far. And we will take additional cooking questions and stuff in a little bit. There will be plenty of time for that. We might even be ending early today, just at the rate we are
right now, we just
going.
Want comments and questions about what we've done so far.
Yep.
As in so
So
far
with
today,
that,
not in on the cooking.
yes, so far today, yes. Now, if you, what we've done so far in general, well, the list.
We don't have time
anyway.
for that.
No. So let's start over in Zoom. Do we have anybody?
We do. We have 2 hands at the moment, and first up is Lucy.
Hey, Lucy.
Hello. First of all, I'm glad you changed what you were saying because you said brown sugar twice.
Okay. Well, I'm so used to working with the brown sugar, but it is powdered sugar for the record.
Yeah.
It is.
It depends
powdered
on your
sugar.
fudge recipe, though, because the alternative version without the eggs that I found, it does call for brown sugar.
Well, this one doesn't, so I'm glad he changed.
All right. Well, I'll tell you who might be upset about the Rolling Stones. But anyway, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Because sticky fingers and all. Yeah. So the second thing is I just wanted to give an opinion on something, and you were talking earlier about a buttered pan versus parchment paper. And
yes.
My opinion is, in this case, I would butter the pan. I have never had any problems getting fudge out of a pan. So that's just my opinion.
All right.
with butter.
Okay, well, you can defer to Lucy because she's made fudge before. So.
Tons
All right.
of
Well,
times.
we will.
Yeah.
All right.
There you
Well,
go.
then we will defer to Lucy on this one. So, all right, Lucy. Lucy said to do it. So,
So
that's what we're.
if you have problems, it's Lucy's fault.
No,
Yep.
if you have problems, you didn't use enough butter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that
fair
would
enough.
not be a problem in this house, but
All right,
enough.
thanks.
I can assure you.
Thanks, Lucy.
All right, I really could have plugged my mixer in on the other wall and not unplugged the air fryer, but that's okay. I'm talking to myself. Okay, before we get back to Zoom, do we have anybody in Clubhouse?
No one has their hand raised yet.
All right. And my mixer is on. Let's get that off. Okay, so let's go back over to Zoom.
Abraham.
Hi.
All right.
I would actually use foil with the shiny side up instead.
I would not advise foil. It will stick to the foil.
I have made a fudge before, not chocolate fudge, but sugar-based caramel fudge, and that did not stick.
That probably didn't because it would have caramelized, so it would have been easier to remove. But I think chocolate fudge, I would be very surprised if it didn't stick. That was why my worry about the using parchment paper rather than just greasing.
Okay. Then I was wondering, are you using a stand mixer, or do you think I could use an electric hand mixer for this recipe?
You could use a hand mixer.
And the only mixer I have is a hand mixer. I've thought about a stand mixer. I've just never seen one, so I don't even know if I could put it in my kitchen or where I'd store it when I wasn't using it.
They're kind of bulky, and I've only got one
very
similar
bulky,
similar to what you've got, where it's got the different attachments to the hand bit that you plug in.
Yep.
That's what I've got, and that's what I always use, and I have no desire to have anything bulkier.
Yep, and Chanel says we don't have room, so.
There you go.
Which is all right.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
if
you
the
so
wife
much.
who doesn't cook tells me we don't have room, then I got to do what I'm told anyway.
I've seen one.
Yes, I know. No, I've never thought that we had room for one, so it's never been any of my Christmas
lists. If you've got a good
lists.
hand maker, then you don't need to. If you've got a good hand maker,
stand mixers. There's a couple of recipes I wouldn't have minded a stand mixer, like that chocolate mayonnaise cake and one or two cookie dough batters. But for the most part, I don't bake enough anyway that I'd even really want to.
I bake a lot, and yet I still don't think you need more than a hand mixer.
All right. Well, very good. Okay, let's see. And I was going to talk more about the mixer in just a minute, guys. So that's where we're getting into what we've done so far. Anyway, do we have any more questions over on Clubhouse?
No questions yet. Sorry.
All right, and how about Zoom?
Not at the moment.
All right, so yes, as I was going to get into the mixer, but that's okay. I do have a hand mixer, both Tori and I do. And I store the hand mixer, and then when I want to, I just attach the beaters onto it when I'm ready to use, and then plug it in. Mine also has an eject button when I'm done with the beaters that I can just, plop them right into the sink. And I think this is just going to require a lower speed. I don't think because we don't have flour or anything like that. In fact, this stuff is so easy to work with, actually, compared to some of the other stuff I've had to use mixers for. And yes, I mean, I've heard of the idea of a stand mixer. I honestly have never even. I would imagine they would take up room, and our kitchen only does have so much space. So, and
well, like I said, I actually have enough space in my kitchen that I could have one if I wanted, but I have no desire to.
Right, and that is telling. So this is a very easy mixture to mix. With a mixture, I'm just putting it around the bowl in a full circle. And now that that's done, let's see, it could be a little bit more mixed in. And then I think we use the mixer, I have to go look at the recipe. I think we use the mixer to stir in the chocolate part of the mixture, if memory serves correct.
Give me a second, then I'll check.
All right.
Because mine works very slightly different because I'm using an egg-free version.
Yep.
Yes, you add the other stuff and mix that with the mixer then as well.
All right. Yep. Which would make sense. So I'm going to take this chocolate mixture. I guess it's a little bit lumpy, actually.
Probably starting to try and set already because of how long it took you to do that stuff.
So I'm going to pour this into the bowl. And yeah, it did try to set, but it is still very hot.
It'll be fine, especially since you're using a mixer to mix it.
I'm going to use a spoon to get out what will not pour into the pan directly. And so I'm just scraping it out. And there's still stuff on the side here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let this set in the pan overnight. So we will not know how the fudge turns out today, but we will tomorrow. And we will not have another, well, I'll be able to talk to you about it next week. So, now we're going to do this. And I forgot what it said about the nuts, when I should add those in. So I'm going to bring up the recipe real quick. Okay, add nuts. So we're going to add in some the nuts that I used for last week's recipe. The forget what nuts I have now. The walnuts, and these are already chopped. And just gonna add in a few. No, well, actually, I need to use up this whole bag anyway. So. Now we're going to get the mixer back on and mix it all up again. And then we are going to get out our pan. So I've been given 3 different pieces of advice in the last hour on which method I should use. So you're all wondering, who am I going to go with? And I've already determined that I'm going to defer to Lucy. So who does a great... Yep. Who, by the way, she also has a great community call happening today with Games to Play with Lady A. You can find that out at 2 p.m. Eastern. And also Lucy's Music Memories on MCBVI Radio tonight. Yes, it's the same Lucy. Where I don't know what she'll be doing. I don't know if she knows what she'll be doing. But she did? Okay. I was busy cooking.
She knows.
She knows.
She's working on it now.
Oh, what's she doing? What's she doing then?
Talking about herself in the third person.
Oh, all right.
I'm doing Art Garfunkel and Stephen Bishop.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh, wow. Most people would do Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel, but...
I'll do Paul Simon with someone else.
Oh. Still, because you could have done Simon and Garfunkel once week, then their solo stuff the next week. Well, you still technically could, but...
I like
Art Garfunkel... I know.
You don't want to do what everyone else is doing.
No. No, it's actually a good thing because we don't hear... I mean, most people don't know the work of Art Garfunkel solo. Cause you know Paul Simon, obviously, but... Well, you should.
When I hear Art Garfunkel, I always think of Bright Eyes song.
Oh, there you go. It's on the playlist.
Because I love that
All
song.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So Art Garfunkel tonight, the more quiet half really of the Paul Simon and Garfunkel from Duo, and you can catch that tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on MCBVI Radio, and you can enable that in your Alexa skill with by enabling MCBVI Radio and taking a listen.
Remember, some of us actually have ours reacting to that word. And I'm glad I've got headphones on, because mine does.
Well, that was going to be my point. If you're wearing headphones, then it doesn't matter anyway. And if you're not, well, I don't know what to tell you, because...
Well, it's just that some people are listening on the stream, and you don't want to mess up their streaming of our show.
Well, if they're listening to the stream on their Echo devices...
It does.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's the hazards of listening to stuff out loud in this day and age. They can hear you. So
they're watching you.
They're watching you. And we invite them into our homes and see, guys, everybody was always worried about...
Because so is Google, because you could go out in the street and wave and somebody will see you on Google Maps.
Oh, yeah. Well... people don't realize that we live in a surveillance world, and it's nothing to do with the government, but this is true, guys. You could be out in public, and you do not know if the person next to you is doing a video that's going to get uploaded somewhere to YouTube or Facebook, so... it's people worry about the government spying on us, but it's actually just...
They're probably the only ones not interested in watching.
Yeah, exactly. They might, out of all people, they might be the at least it's the average Joe you need to be more concerned with. So there's some extra surveillance advice on Herbie's Cooking Corner.
Now we've just made everyone paranoid.
Mm-hmm. But, well, to that, guys, we can't play music on here, but go listen to the Rockwell song, Somebody's Watching Me, and, alright. On that note, I've been actually buttering the pan while we've been doing this, and, so now I'm going to make sure I don't scrape the fudge over the meatloaf. That would be embarrassing. Might taste interesting,
Don't know that would go very well.
Probably not.
Meatloaf? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, I'd try it, but...
You'd try pretty much anything, though, wouldn't you?
There are limits.
That's why I said pretty much.
Yes. Alright, so right now I'm just kind of scraping this out of the bowl with clean hands, because that's the easiest way to do it, but you can also use a spoon... or a wooden spoon, and some of it is going to pour out anyway. And what we're going to do is I'm going to flatten it out in the pan, and then it's going to set overnight, so it'll become hard. And either way, it's going to be oh so delicious. That I can...
Yeah, if the bit of mixture I got on my hand is anything to go by, so is mine.
Mm-hmm.
I went a slightly different route because I did not have any chopped nuts because I was saving them from the granola to use for this, and my husband ate them. So I instead put a little bit of coconut in mine. A little bit of desiccated coconut. But I like
that.
Coconut.
Sounds good. But you can save that for the chicken coconut curry that Tyann wants.
Oh, I've still got some.
Okay.
It's fine.
Oh, that's right. You've been making the mushroom curry, though. Okay. Anyway, so...
And
I'm
actually,
going
I
to
might
now
make
just...
some coconut mushroom curry just because I have the coconut and it sounds good. But not today.
Well, then... Alright. Well, once you do it, you should definitely talk to Tyann and give her the recipe, and all she'd have to do is adapt the chicken part, which really isn't that hard, so...
Nope.
And Tyann and Corey both, I know they work together a lot on the crafting calls, so.
Yeah, I've got Tyann's details. I know how to send her recipes. It's fine.
Alright, so this is actually a very easy recipe to make.
Stop eating the fudge.
I'm not eating the fudge, I'm just eating the leftover that was on the side of the pan.
Oh, okay, you can do that, because I did that. Can't really tell you off for doing
No,
what
Yeah. Now, I forget if this thing said it was covered or not. It's supposed to be covered.
And no, it didn't say anything about being covered. It just said put it in the pan in
Yep.
the fridge and leave overnight.
So that's what we're going to do, is I'm going to put this in the pan, in the fridge, and it will get left there overnight. And now to make this, now to wash the stuff down, we're going to have some coffee, and I think we have Tyann on stage, if I'm not mistaken. I'm hearing somebody.
She hasn't
Oh,
raised her hand.
yes. I did have a raised hand and I am on stage.
Oh, it's not showing here.
So
Sorry.
my question is, can you repeat what you put in the mixing bowl?
I put in 2 eggs at room temperature, a little bit over a teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 cups of powdered sugar.
Okay, powdered sugar.
Yes.
All right.
Powdered sugar.
Awesome. And Tori, I hate when husbands eat things that you have plans for.
I know any other time I'd leave it there and it would still be there later. But yeah.
Are you sure it was the husband? Are you sure it wasn't the dogs?
It was definitely the husband. He said he gave me the tub that I had them stored in and said, "Oh, can you take this down to be washed?" And the nuts were good. And I was like, okay, so I'm not putting nuts in my fudge then. so he even admitted to it. So it was definitely the
all right. Well, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt there, but
it was definitely at least mostly the husband.
All right, well, bad husband there. I was trying to stick up for you, but you let me down. So, very good. I guess I'm just lucky because I know my kitchen, and I get my wife can't. Well, she could eat all the stuff that I was going to use for something else, but it. Yeah.
Yes, but but she doesn't.
My part of the table.
She only eats what's on her part of the table, so.
Well, the thing is, if you make sure she has plenty of cookies, she's not going to touch anything that's anywhere else. So.
Well, then this brings up the question: are you making sure that your husband is well fed?
Well, it's his job to make his food. He insists on eating meat, so it's his problem. Although there are plenty of cookies that I said he could have, but.
Okay.
If he's going to insist on... The deal is, I won't say anything bad about him eating meat, but in return, he has to cook it.
Okay. But, all right. Well, on that note, do we have any questions over on Zoom?
We do. We have 2 hands. First is Karen H.
Hey,
all right. Well, Karen, thanks for introducing Karen. And
Hi, Herbie and Tori and everybody. Glad to hear.
Hello.
Glad to be here. So I have a comment and a couple quick questions. So, you were saying that talking about centering the pot on the stove. When I first went blind, my rehab teacher had told me once you place the pot on the stove and then maybe use like a wooden spoon or something and feel around the sides to make sure it's centered, like to slowly move the spoon around the burner to make sure that it's centered. So that was helpful.
But if you put it on there when it's cold, though, before you light the stove, you can actually use your hands.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a given. Yeah, exactly.
And yes, I do use a wooden spoon, or I will use a metal spoon to kind of center it as well.
Right. Yeah. And then
that's a great tip, though, Karen.
Tori, I'm sure you'll, at some point before the call is over, do this because you usually do. But I'm curious. First of all, it sounds like there's 3 ingredients for this recipe, which sounds easy.
There's
And
more than
if
3 actually.
oh, well, maybe 4. Uh,
5.
5. Okay. Well,
6
okay,
if
just
you add the nuts.
a few ingredients. So if you could give a alternative to making it more sugar free or vegan, that would be awesome because there'd be some of us that might want to have it a little healthier. Of course, it won't taste quite the same, but that would be
But it'll still be
awesome.
good.
And one quick thing, so do you have to have a mixer? Because normally I don't bake,
No.
and all I have is a magic bullet. So, I didn't know if it had to be done in the mixer
No,
to get the right
it's
consistency.
just if you use the mixer, it's easier. It'll just take you a lot longer to mix it by hand.
Okay, I didn't know if it would affect the consistency of the batter because, like I was saying in ACB Presents,
I
my
didn't bother using a mixer for mine.
yeah, my things don't turn out well. They taste good, but the consistency is off. So, alrighty, sounds good. And I'm bummed because Lucy's show is on the same time that open mic is on tonight, 6 o'clock here Mountain Time. So
Open mic is not on tonight.
oh,
No.
that's tomorrow. Duh.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
good.
Lucy's
Then I can-
hosting open mic. On top of
then I
that,
can-
we're facilitating it.
Then I can
So I don't thi-
listen. I love our
Yeah.
Yeah. As talented as Lucy is, I don't even even I wouldn't facilitate open mic and do a show at the same time. I mean,
I love Simon and Garfunkel, and so I'll just definitely check out the show. And no,
well, it'll be art golf. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Chocolate meatloaf does not sound good. I've had chocolate cheese. That sounds good. I've had that. That's good.
That's different.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let others speak, and thanks for doing these calls.
Well, before we move on to the next person, the consistency thing. So you don't have to use a mixer, but if you do, it does require longer for stirring. You do have to get it to the same type of consistency you would with a mixer. It's just that you don't have to use a mixer to get it there.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, guys. Oh, and
All
by the way,
right.
I did try to get onto. I was in Clubhouse earlier, but for some reason
Clubhouse is sometimes glitchy.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's why I
Clubhouse
came over
was
to
being very weird. I saw you and I tried to bring you up on stage and it did something very strange. So I don't know. But
no
anyway.
worries.
Glad you got here.
Okay.
I make sure I get
You
myself
got here,
ready
and that's
today.
the main thing. Thanks.
Yep.
Karen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so speaking of Clubhouse, do we have anybody else over there?
Well, no one has their hand raised. I can tell you that for certain.
All right, then let's go back over to Zoom.
Okay, next is area code 501 ending in 974.
Teresa.
This is Teresa. Good morning. I'm back to the grindstone, but I'm listening along on the phone. But I wanted to know, will this be podcasted?
Yes.
Yes.
Will this be put into a good? And I'm going to definitely try to get if I can get my Lady A to work right tonight to listen to Lucy's show. I love Art Garfunkel. I think he and Stephen Bishop would have made a good duet, great duet too.
Oh, but then we'd have had Bishop and Garfunkel, not Simon and Garfunkel.
True.
Or Garfunkel and Bishop.
Well, let's just say I think Garfunkel has a better voice. That's just my opinion. For what it's worth,
Okay.
You don't have to agree with
All right.
me. But anyway,
Thanks,
back
Teresa.
to the fudge.
But
Enjoy
yes,
some
it will
fudge while you
be
listen to Lucy's
podcasted
show.
and it'll end up on YouTube as well. So.
Okay, good deal. Enjoy some fudge while you listen to Lucy's show.
And we'll know the fudge won't be ready till tomorrow, so we can enjoy it while we're listening to open mic night tomorrow, though. That works.
Okay. And do you have to sing on the do you have to have a music track for open mic if or does that matter?
No.
No. Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
For karaoke you do,
Thank
for
you.
open mic you don't.
Technically
Okay.
for karaoke
Thank
you
you.
don't. They prefer it, but
No, what she wants to know is
Yeah.
if you have to send in the song ahead of time.
Oh no, you don't. You don't send in the song ahead
And a
of time.
music track.
You don't
Okay.
need you don't
Alrighty.
technically need to have a music track for either. You can sing a cappella. For karaoke, you need to
Right.
send in ahead of time. There is a deadline for open mic night. You just need to be there.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yep. All right, guys.
you.
Any more raised hands?
3. Next is
All
Deborah.
right.
Hey,
Deborah.
Hi, good morning, folks. And that's my little bird in the background. I got interrupted. A friend of mine was had called, so I missed out on what the 5 ingredients were in the fudge.
Chocolate chips, melted chocolate chips and butter.
Yep.
In a saucepan, then in the mixing bowl, 2 eggs at room temperature, a teaspoon of vanilla, a pound of powdered sugar. Yikes.
Okay.
And you mix those all together, then you add in the chocolate mixture, and then add in nuts.
If you want to add nuts.
Yeah.
If you want to add nuts.
And after it's made, then do you put it in the fridge overnight, or do you? Oh, okay. Cool.
And the entire recipe will be be good the next day, and the entire recipe will be posted to the ACB cooks list after the call.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks. Sounds good.
Okay. Hi, Birdie. Sorry,
She says hi.
I've forgotten what her name is.
Noelle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Noelle.
All right, is she the first Noelle, or?
She is. Well, she's
the
our
first Noelle that comes on the ACB Crafters call.
Yeah. Yes, and other calls too in the Braille room and everything like that. Yeah. She gets on the Braille room and
gives her opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Deborah and Noelle.
Thank you.
Next
all right, then. On that note, who's next?
For a second.
Okay.
Just double check with Desi for a moment.
Yeah.
No one has their hand raised over here.
Okay, back to Zoom then.
All right, Peggy Ann.
Hey, Peggy.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, 2 questions. Herbie, are you still putting this in Dropbox?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And go ahead.
Yes. So after the call, this will be made available as a text file in the Dropbox folder, and I'll have that done today. So.
Okay. Yeah. So it'll go in Dropbox as a text file. It'll go on the ACB cooks list, and at some point when it can be, it'll be podcast.
Okay. My question is, my 2 other real quick questions are, if you don't have or can't access your Dropbox, meaning your personal Dropbox, do you have to have one to get to your Dropbox, or can you go to it? And
no, it's a link. It's a direct link to the folder, and I designed it so that you don't need a Dropbox invite. Anybody should be able to view the files. If you have trouble, definitely let me know. But I made it so that it's a public link.
Okay.
That doesn't require. You don't have to have Dropbox at all.
Okay, all right. That question, thank you. That's good to know. And my other last question is this a baked fudge or a no-bake fudge?
No bake.
No bake. Okay, thank you.
We just use the stovetop to melt the butter and chocolate part, and then after that, it's completely no even heat involved.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I actually don't know if I've ever heard of baked fudge.
Me either.
Or me, actually.
Me neither, Des.
There you go. There's probably some.
Well, there's a first time for everything. So, Peggy Ann, if you have a baked fudge recipe you'd like to tell us about.
My grandma used to cook the fudge.
Yeah.
There's one that you don't have to do anything with. It's just like not even on the stovetop. So I don't know if she baked it or if this is the cooked fudge that she used to do. I can't remember.
Probably the cooked fudge she used to do.
Okay.
Is yeah, because fudge is not something you'd bake.
Fudge usually you would melt some of the ingredients so that they mix together, which would be either the stovetop or the microwave or something, and then put it in something to set.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That corrects what I needed to know. So thank you.
All right, very good. And who is next?
Okay, 2 more hands. Next is Ibrahim.
Hi, Ibrahim.
Ibrahim.
Hi. I was just wondering, we use the beaters to aerate the egg and sugars before adding the chocolate?
Yes.
Okay. And so, how do you know the texture, if the texture is correct? Do you beat it until a particular texture before pouring it into the pan?
Smooth, essentially.
Okay, cool.
And you can do it with beater, or you can do it with some kind of other mixer attachment, or you can do it with a spoon or something. It will come up a lot quicker if you use some kind of mixer.
Yep. Okay, can you still hear me?
We can now.
Yes.
We couldn't before if we were supposed to be.
No, I was just making a slight change because I don't need to be mobile at the moment. So.
Oh, okay.
And I hadn't realized if I was figuring out while Abraham was talking which way I'd muted my mic because I've got a million different ways of doing things here. So anyway, yeah. So basically, I just kind of it says to make sure stuff is well combined, and this is one of the things I don't like about baking as much is it can be really challenging at times, but you just kind of have to use your best judgment and just feel if everything is well mixed together. So, all right, who is next?
Roberta.
Roberta.
Hi. You mentioned last week that this week you were going to talk about how to recognize when things were boiling, and I apologize. I came in late. Did you talk about that?
Yep.
Yes, we did right at the beginning.
So, basically, what you're going to look for is the fact that, again, make sure you hear the thing sizzling. Like, you want to hear it bubbling. And if you have it, boiling water is the easiest because you can not only hear it bubbling, but you can also feel it bubbling through the pot handle as well. And even with this stuff on a lower heat, I could still hear it sizzling and bubbling, and that's how I knew that the stove was at its max temperature. And then I would just start, well, even before it was boiling, I would just start stirring. And I would just use the spoon to gauge the texture of the mixture. And once it felt like it was completely well blended, then I would turn off the stove and move the pan to a different burner to sit while I was getting everything else ready.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
All right. And who is next?
Well, first, should we see if we've got anyone with Desi over there? Because we haven't checked in on Clubhouse for a bit.
Those Clubhouse people.
All right.
Be nice.
I'm seeing no raised hands. Blah, blah, blah. Can't talk, but no raised hands.
All right, and yeah, now I see why Zoom people did not hear. I thought I had my original sound on, and so the archive, you'll hear the sizzling a little bit better, maybe even too well. I don't know, but
all right.
So there you go. But
okay. So do we have anyone else in Zoom?
We're clear at the moment.
Okay.
All right.
So shall I talk about some substitution tips? So first of all, obviously, if you're going to be making this vegan, then you are not going to be wanting to use eggs, which is also potentially an issue if you've got an allergy to eggs. So the recipe that I found to work with in that case suggests soy milk as an alternative to the eggs, and it does specify that it wants soy milk. I'm not sure what it would tell you if you're also allergic to soy, but that is what it specifies. For the butter, you can just go with whatever dairy-free alternative you want. Depending on dietary restrictions, powdered sugar might not be an option for you. If it's because of not having the refined sugars because of being vegan, then you can just use brown sugar. If it's because of being diabetic, then you could use a sugar substitute. I'm not entirely certain, because I'm kind of new to fudge making, how successful specific ones would be. But there are alternatives out there that you could use in place of the sugar that would, in theory, be perfectly acceptable for substitutions, since I have seen, when I was looking for the dairy-free fudge recipe, I have seen versions where they have mentioned other sugar options as being potential things you could do if you are diabetic. And if you do not want to use nuts, are allergic to nuts, or your husband eats the nuts, you can add something else in place of those, such as, for example, shredded coconut, dried fruit, or even just leave it as plain chocolate fudge. So that's what I have for you for options for substitutions.
All right. Very good. Very good indeed. And there's a million fudge recipes out there. Like I gave Tori 4, and I said, this is what we're going to use, but there's like several other alternative ones that I could use.
You gave me more than 4.
Yeah, I probably did. Yep.
You gave me at least half a dozen, because there was a couple from Sheila, and then
yes,
you gave me a couple from Sheila. Then you gave me the one that you said, this is the one I'm planning on using. Then you gave me 3 more. There were definitely at least 6.
Yes. And there's some that require like marshmallow cream and stuff like that. So
yeah,
there's a whole number of ways you can make fudge. All right. So this is, guys, your last chance to ask questions. Otherwise, we are going to get this thing ended early. And
so raise those hands and request to speak now, or you're gonna miss a chance.
And so let's start with Zoom. Do we have anybody?
Ibrahim.
All right, Ibrahim. Yep.
Hi. Again, I was wondering if do you think cereal would be a good add-in?
I don't see why not. I mean, the idea of something like the nuts or dried fruit or something is to give it something like besides the soft fudge stuff. And I have seen things like cereal and things in fudge in the past, so I don't see why not.
Okay, cool. And then I wanted to know if there was any update as to how last week's granola turned out.
Very tasty.
Okay.
Though I personally think to get it crunchier, you'd want to bake it a little longer than it said. But it's still really good.
And Chanel, I don't know if you're on here, but if you want to offer any opinions on the granola.
She just logged out.
Oh, okay. That is unfortunate. All right. So very good. What else? Oh, I just put the fudge recipe in the Dropbox, guys. So
and I will put it on the cooks list once we're done with the call here.
Yep. All right, and Abraham also has a Braille call on Thursdays. Well, it's Villain's call, but he helps host it, and he's also been a facilitator too. In fact, he just showed us how to draw in Braille not too long ago. So, we have a pretty robust community around here, guys. All right. Anybody else over on the Clubhouse side?
No, I just refreshed my screen and it still tells me there are no raised hands. So
okay. Oh, anyone else in Zoom then?
Yes, Karen.
Hey, Karen.
Hey, I got a question. So regarding substitutions, I'll use stevia or something like monk fruit. Would those work? And if so, what proportion, for the amounts would you use?
Well, I've not really had much experience with using those, so I would, in theory, they should, but I wouldn't know exactly what to tell you for adjustments. I mean, when you're adding, for example, the stevia to something normally, like for example, say you make a cup of coffee and you want some sweetness to that, how do you adjust your amounts with that?
Oh gosh, because I do such little baking, I don't. I would basically, I had to go online and Google it and find out what the amounts were.
And what did it tell you basically? Did it say like to half it or something, or?
Well, it really depends on the recipe. It'd be like either use I don't know, several packets or scoops of one of them. I think it's I don't remember. I don't remember, unfortunately. So I'd have to research. I would have to research it. I don't want to give I don't want to say something that's incorrect.
And this is why I'm being hesitant here, because I've not really had experience. My usual go-to if I'm trying to reduce sugar for something is to use cinnamon in place of some of the sugar.
Well, that's true. That's really good for the insulin levels too.
But I don't know how well that would work for this. Although
I can
you could
research
potentially,
Yeah. And then can something like a smart balance, butter spread work in place of butter?
I can tell you that would work. Yes. The butter, you can just substitute it for your butter of choice.
I know in some recipes it's not quite the same and doesn't come out, and you have to use butter in some cases. So that's why.
This one, I mean, I've seen for a fact that it says butter or substitute, and it says, and like the dairy-free one I've got specifically says vegan butter substitute. So if that works, and the butter substitute I use, which I have it on good authority, is perfectly fine, is a sunflower spread. So I don't see why.
What you want with the butter is, again, it's supposed to blend with the chocolate. So if you think that your smart
basically
balance
that's what it's for, which is why it'll be no problem, whatever. There are recipes where it does make a difference and it will affect the outcome. Right. But since the main purpose of this is to blend with the chocolate so that it like helps with some creaminess and everything as it sets and everything, it should be fine.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, do we have anyone else?
Not seeing anyone at the moment.
No one on the clubhouse side. Nope.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, we've been rolling right along here. We've are about to end things, but guys, just want to remind you that next week we are going to have another guest facilitator, as we are going to have Liz, who is going to talk soup and talk about everything that I guess we'd want to know about soup making. And we do not have any specific recipes for that call, but
we do have some that we might share after it.
Exactly. So make sure you tune in to that. This will be interesting, as I will be out of the friendly confines of my kitchen and in Palm Springs, and hopefully I'll be on the call.
And in the unfriendly confines of somebody else's kitchen?
Exactly. Well, I'll be in the kitchen of a master chef, so well, okay, she doesn't call herself that, but she should. But we can definitely talk about the marvelous cooking of my mother-in-law at another time. But there are rules about making people's mouth water. And guys, if you think I'm a good cook, no.
Just go with his mother-in-law and not
exactly,
and not somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I know some people who are not good cooks who think they are.
Yeah.
I won't name names because that's just mean.
Okay. But anyway, on that note then, guys, so tune into for that next week, and then I think, is French toast the following week, or is it our brownies?
Brownies the following week, French toast after that.
All right, so that reminds me I need to go find a brownie recipe. I was asked to do a simple brownie recipe that didn't require any stovetops or anything like that. So that is on the agenda. And then, yep, we will do French toast the following week. And this will be the fried kind. I did the baked kind last year. So I hope you'll join me for that. And then Deb is going to come on, our streamer, and talk about some things. And we're
her new toy.
Her new toy, yep. And we're encouraging Deb and Desi to either collaborate or start their own cooking calls because, we think that they have some very unique things to offer that
or if they just have a couple of recipes and don't think they have enough content for a call, they could always just come and be our guests.
They can, yes, be our guest. That's wrong context too, come for that matter. Anyway, but that is one of the places I love to visit. I mean, I know it was bad that they were enchanted and all that, but wouldn't you like to be in a castle where all the dishes and stuff can talk and stuff like that?
As long as they also wash themselves, sure.
Exactly. Well, I think Mrs. Potts did make sure that happened. So
exactly. So yeah, if my dinner wants to serve itself and because the dishes are doing all the work and then they want to clean themselves after, I can live with that.
Yeah, so can I.
When am I going?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So on that note, then, guys, a reminder, if you have not already done so, we encourage you to donate to the community and help keep these calls going. We've got millions of Zoom accounts. Yes, I'm going to. And you can go to tinyurl.com/communityathon22. That is tinyurl.com/COMMUNITYATHON22. And just fill out the form there, and your donation helps a lot of the aspects of this community run smoothly. And so we definitely appreciate it. And
well, actually, it helps it run at all.
Exactly. And as Tori said, when you think of donating, it makes you think of donuts. And, well, there's a good reason.
Well, you can always have donuts after you donate.
I could, yes. And we talked about that earlier, too. So, Anyway, guys, all right. So this is the last check on hands for either platform.
None in Zoom.
All right. And
no one in Clubhouse.
All right.
Excellent. Well, my thanks to Karen, our host. Don't want to get you mixed up with the other Karen who contributed a lot today too. But thanks to Karen, our Zoom host, Dazzling Desi, our Clubhouse host, Deb, for streaming, and everybody else, thank you for coming on board with us. And on that note, guys...
Because like I always say on the crafting call, we're glad you come and participate, because without you, there'd be no point in us being here, and that would be sad.
That would be sad, so... All right, and on that note, guys, you may end the respective rooms. I will mention that the fudge did turn out good, and it did stick to the pan a little bit, but cutting into it really helps in getting it out of the pan.